Advantages and disadvantages of steel construction. First of all, advantages means merits of steel construction. First, that is reliability. The steel material is homogeneous and ductile material, consistency and uniformity in properties, better quality control because of factory manufacture. In the factory under control condition, we can make good quality steel. Large elasticity. Steel is elastic material. Ductility means after yielding, it can go for large deformations, which gives us ductility. Because of truly homogeneous and elastic material, steel satisfies most of the assumptions involved in the derivation of the analysis and design formulas, and hence the results obtained are reliable. For example, in the concrete, we go for from the start from the Hooke's law, and in the Hooke's law, we assume that the material is homogeneous, and that is a full function. You can say approximately in the steel the whole material is homogeneous, and that's why it covers the Hooke's law. So that is again the reliability. Industrial behavior. Hot rolled steel sections are manufactured in factories. Okay, that is also the members may be cut and prepared for assembly in the factories. Mean we can cut, for example, this much length of steel member is needed. We can cut these members in the industry. Only joining of these components is carried out at the site by installing rivets or bolts or by welding different components. Means in the factory we manufacture the steel sections, we cut the steel sections, then we bring these steel sections on the side and connect with the connecting elements like rivets, bolts, etc. Sometimes part of the structure are also assembled in the factories. That is therefore is great adoption to be prefabrications. Nowadays a prefabrication industry is also grooming. So now you can see you're around that different types of prefabrication and prefab buildings are present, and manual errors reduce greatly. In such cases, the speed of construction increases and the total cost reduces. Why? We cut almost all the sections in the industry, so labor cost will reduce. We can make our buildings in lesser time. Lesser construction time. Because of the industrial nature of steel construction, progress of the work is very fast, making the structures economical due to the industrial behavior. The reason is that these structures can be put to use earlier stage. Means if our building is made up only in 1 month, that is very good. We can start our business, and that is we can early occupation of the or the start of the business in the newly building. The reduction in the labor cost and overhead charges and the benefits obtained from early use of building contribute to the economy. High weight and lightweight nature. Steel provides high strength per unit weight. Dead loads becomes lesser because steel sections are stronger but lightweight as compared to concrete. Dead loads a bigger part of the total loads on a structure. When dead load reduces, the underneath members become still smaller. When the whole structure load is less, then the members need to be designed will be less weight, will be of less weight. More important for long span bridges, tall buildings, and for structures having poor foundation conditions. At these locations, steel structures are also good. Here is a differentiation of the weight to strength ratio. Here this density over strength. Okay, you can see the ratio is for the steel, that is too good, that is 3.2 10 raised to power minus 4. When we divide the density with the strength of the material, we got these ratios. You can see the concrete are too heavy, as wood is less, steel is lesser than wood, aluminum is also lesser than steel. So aluminum cost is large, so that's why we go for steel. and its structural properties. Uniformity and durability and performance. Durability means long life of a structure. Steel is a very homogeneous and uniform material. Satisfies the basic assumptions of most of the analysis and design formulas. Okay, due to the homogeneous and uniform material. If properly maintained and painting to avoid the corrosion, etc., the properties of steel do not change appreciably with time. Okay, hence the steel structures are more durable.
Sixth property is the elasticity. Steel behaves closer to design assumptions than most of the other materials because steel follows Hooke's law up to fairly high stresses. I think you know that steel up to yield point in the stress strain curve follow the straight line. The stress produced remains proportional to the strain applied to the stress strain diagram remains a straight line, that is the Hooke's law. The steel sections do not crack or tear before ultimate load, and hence the moment of inertia of a steel structure can be definitely calculated. Means from the cross section, the full uncracked cross section the moment of inertia will be calculated, so there will be no chance of crack moment of inertia in the steel sections. What is ductility and warning before failure? That is the seventh merit point of steel structure. The property of a material by which it can withstand extensive deformation without failure under high tensile stresses is said to be its ductility. Means you can see after the yield point, this steel have large deformation from this point to this point, and in the high tensile regions, means this material can withstand large deformations without final failure. Okay, so that is the ductility, and it's also the other name of this is the warning before failure. Means in this condition with large deformations, the occupants, the residents in the building can evacuate or can leave the building so that they can save their lives. So that is the warning before failure. If there is excessive deformation, the occupant or the resident will leave the building. So that is the warning before failure, which comes under the ductility. Mild steel is a very ductile material. The percentage elongation of a standard tension test specimen after fracture can be as high as 25 to 30%. Means when we perform the tension test on the steel bars, then its length increases 25 to 30% of the original length. This gives visible deflections or evidence of impending failure in case of overloads. If there is a heavy forces or heavy loads comes on the building, then there will be large deformations and the occupant can leave the building. The extra loads, if there is a large deformation, there is one option that you can remove the load, extra load. The extra load may be removed from the structure to prevent collapse. Second, even if collapse does occur, time is available for occupants to vacate the building. So that is the warning before failure. Additions to existing structures. Addition to existing steel structures are very easy to be made because you can build the existing steel structure to extend or create a new story above the building. Connections between the new and existing structures can be employed very effectively. New bays or even entire new wings of buildings can be added to the existing steel frame buildings, and steel bridges may often be widened. What is new bays? The distance between two columns is called bay. Okay, so new bay means a new columns adjacent to buildings can be developed in the steel structures. So that is the advantage, addition to existing structures. Possible reuse. Steel sections can be reused after a structure is disassembled. For example, if a industrial building is disassembled, their steel sections and members are disassembled. Now you can use these disassembled members to another location, and you can rebuild the same structure to another structure, so another building. So that is a possible reuse. And at the end, scrap value. Steel has a scrap value. Even though it is not reusable in its existing form, its scrap value you can sell at the half price, even after the demolition. Even the sections are distorted or destroyed, then still the scrap value is there of the steel structure. That is property of steel structure. That property is not exist with concrete structure. Watertight and airtight construction. Steel structures provide completely impervious construction. Structures like reservoirs, oil pipes, gas pipes, etc. are preferably made from structural steel. Okay, you can see your even in the locals, your water pipe, water supply pipe, large pipe, even large dia pipes. Okay, so these are all watertight and airtight construction. Long span construction. High-rise buildings, long span bridges due to lightweight, and tall transmission towers, maybe of telecommunication tower, etc., are made up of structural steel due to its lightweight that can go into the high-rise. Industrial buildings up to span of 90 meters can be designed by plate girders or trusses. That is the advantage of steel. Bridge spans up to 260 meters, that is too large distance, are made with plate girder that is made of steel. That is the type of the bridge. For through truss bridges, span of 300 meters have been used. Okay, so with the help of steel you can go with 300 meters, that is too large distance. Temporary construction. For temporary structures, steel construction is always preferred. For example, most common in the present era, you see the steel structure formwork. Whenever there is construction of concrete, you build the formwork under the construction site, and after curing and after hardening of concrete, you disassemble the steel structure and you reuse at another location. So that is a temporary construction. Army constructions during war are mostly made out of structural steel. For making of bridges, they make the panels and join them to cross the river, to cross the canals. That is also made of steel. The structures may be disassembled by opening few bolts. Components parts are carried to a new places, and the structure is easily reassembled. And again, the same structure can be made another location, or their components can be used on the other location. Now the disadvantages of steel construction. Okay, so that is demerits of steel construction: high maintenance costs and corrosions. Most steels are susceptible to corrosion when freely exposed to air and water, and must therefore be periodically painted. If the painting is done and steel is free from water and air or oxygen, then there will be no corrosion. So for that we have to do painting and other protective measures. This requires extra cost and special care. The use of weathering steel, the steel with paints, with varnishes, with coating that can resist the weather, in suitable design applications tend to eliminate this cost. Okay, the steel which can have the resistance against these factors, that can eliminate this cost. If not properly maintained, steel members can lose 1 to 1.5 millimeter of their thickness each year. That is disadvantage if not properly maintained. Accordingly, such constructions can lose weight up to 35% during their specified life, and even can fail under external loads, so their protective measures are too important. High fireproofing costs. Although steel members are incombustible, means they are not burnable, their strength is tremendously reduced at temperatures prevailing in fires. Means at higher fire temperatures, their strength is reduced. At about 400 degrees centigrade, creep becomes much more pronounced. Means after that their deformations become permanent. Creep is defined as plastic deformation that comes after yield point under a constant load for a long period of time. This produces excessively large deflections, deformations of main members, forcing the other members to higher stresses or even to collapse. Okay, after 400 degrees centigrade. Steel is an excellent conductor of heat and may transmit enough heat from a burning compartment of a building to start fire in other parts of the building. For example, if there is a wood, any material that will start burning due to the too much high temperature and the transmission of heat. Extra cost is required to properly fireproof the building. So that is the disadvantage. Susceptibility to buckling. That is again disadvantage. Buckling is a type of collapse of the members due to sudden large bending caused by a critical compressive load. You can see this column. Due to the heavy loads, this column buckles. Okay, eye girder. The girder is buckled. So that is the disadvantage. This phenomena is in the disadvantage because in concrete sections the buckling phenomena is negligible. The steel sections usually consist of combination of thin plates, okay, like you can see center plate, side plates for eye girder. Further, the overall steel member dimensions are also smaller than reinforced concrete members. The overall dimension of steel is less than from the concrete members. If these slender members are subjected to compression, there are greater chances of buckling due to smaller area of cross section. Here another testing of steel beam. Okay, you can see there is a buckling phenomena in this type of steel sections. Sometimes steel when used per column is not very economical because considerable material has to be used merely to stiffen the column against buckling. To avoid the buckling phenomena, we have to increase the steel cross section. So that is the disadvantage. High initial cost / less availability. In few countries like Pakistan and other where the steel production is less, so steel is not available in the abundance. But my own opinion that if you want to construct any building of steel or you make an extension of new story on the existing building, so you will not face in the market like such thing. If you go to the vendor and ask for I need that much section, that much channel section, angle section of steel, the vendor will be happy to provide you services because he has that material. Okay, hence its initial cost is very high compared with the other structural materials. That is the issue due to the less not in abundance presence of this material. This is the most significant factor that has resulted in the decline of steel structures in these countries. Aesthetics. For certain types of buildings, the steel form is architecturally preferred. However, for majority of residential and office buildings, steel structures without use of false ceiling and cladding are considered to have poor aesthetic appearance. That is the issue. So for that, to cover the poor aesthetic appearance, we have to provide the false ceiling, cladding, any material which cover this material. A considerable cost is to be spent on such structures to improve their appearance. Cladding is a covering of metal or concrete, plastic or timber put on the surface of a structural member to completely encase it. Okay, the cladding not only protects the member but also improves its appearance.